Oklahoma in a state of addiction.
Prescription pain medication is not an answer for chronic pain.
Opioid abuse is an epidemic impacting thousands in our state. It's an issue that KOCO is tackling head on. We're looking at what leads to the problem, how you can stop it.
But it's also important for us to get rid of those unused medications, again, so that's not available for people to potentially abuse in the future.
And how you can prevent yourself or someone else from misusing the drugs. KOCO is committed to exposing every aspect of this epidemic in a series of special reports, including tonight's 30-minute special. We started this project with our parent company, Hearst Television, and our sister stations across the country. The goal is to shed light on this issue. It is a year-long project to show you how to get help, lend a hand, and what needs to be done to stop the cycle. You know, 1 in 3 millennials say they know someone who is addicted to opioids or prescription painkillers. The survey also found that most people believe treatment is the best option. Experts say people who misuse opioids often get them from a relative or a friend who has a prescription.
There are, unfortunately, though, those that are basically just a drug dealer with a lab coat. And there are a very small amount of them. But they are absolutely out there, and they result in people being overprescribed.
A Metro doctor charged with overprescribing patients, 5 of them died. The Attorney General says opioids may have contributed to some of those deaths. You know, it's estimated that 91 people die each day from an opioid overdose in the United States. Oklahoma at the center of the state of addiction. KOCO's Jonathan Cooper has the story.
Osteopathic physician Dr. Reagan Nichols booked into jail, accused of over-medicating patients, leading to their deaths.
And it is the intention of our office to hold her accountable.
Attorney General Mike Hunter announced 5 second-degree murder charges against the doctor after a nearly 3-year investigation by several agencies. Court documents reveal authorities first became aware of Nichols in May of 2014 after a concerned patient contacted them. Agents studied her former patients at Sunshine Medical in Midwest City and discovered at least 10 people died after receiving prescriptions through her. And investigators found enough evidence to link 5 of the deaths directly to Nichols.
3 of the 5 individuals who died were prescribed by Dr. Nichols what is known as the Holy Trinity, a deadly free drug combination.
In one case, documents say a 55-year-old patient was given 510 pills of pain, anti-anxiety, and muscle-relaxing medications. Documents say that patient died the same day as seeing Nichols. Jonathan Cooper, KOCO 5 News.
Now, Oklahoma's Attorney General is working to stop opioid overdoses and deaths. Mike Hunter and lawmakers announced legislation that would form a commission on opioid abuse. KOCO's Crystal Price with what they'll do.
Opioid addiction has killed 2,000 Oklahomans in the last 3 years.
If nothing is done, we're going to continue to lose friends, family, and loved ones to addiction and overdose.
Now the Attorney General is joining forces with Senator A.J. Griffin and Representative Tim Downing as they filed a resolution to create a commission on opioid abuse. The 9-member committee will study, evaluate, and make recommendations to lawmakers on how to fight opioid addiction in our state.
But first, you need to understand the problem. We need to have good data. We need to have facts and figures.
Even though the state has made strides with the prescription monitoring program, Senator Griffin said we need to make sure what our state has in place is working.
We've got to move a lot faster. Lives are at stake. We've got to get this done.
Crystal Price, KOCO 5 News.
You know, the U.S. consumes more than 99% of the world's hydrocodone. The numbers are really crazy to think about. I want to show you this. These are the top 3 countries. Number 2, the United Kingdom, uses about 200 kilograms a year. The U.S. at the top jumps to 80,000 kilos a year. So how are hydrocodone and other opioids getting here? Well, we went to the Drug Enforcement Administration to track the supply chain. Here's Jessica Shambach.
The United States got flooded with opioids, and that's the problem. Pharmaceutical companies, they marketed these opioids to be safe, to be non-habit forming.
Companies pushing pills and doctors over-prescribing. Richard Salter, Assistant Special Agent in charge at the U.S. Department of Justice Drug Enforcement Administration.
We're talking about doctors out there that are deal only in cash. They're trade all kind of things for pills, and they're just drug dealers with a doctor's degree.
If not by prescription, word of mouth.
It's I'll meet you at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk and deliver whatever it is you want.
Mexican drug cartels also pushing pills in the streets of OKC. Now, according to the DEA, it's getting even more dangerous. Law enforcement finding pills laced with a synthetic opioid, fentanyl, which is 100 times more powerful than morphine.
Because they can order fentanyl from China. Fairly inexpensive compared to what it costs them to produce heroin.
Salter says the synthetic opioid has reached epidemic levels in the Northeast. Oklahoma right on the cusp. But the user may have no idea what pill they're really getting. Just last year, 3 family members died in this southwest Oklahoma City home. Authorities say they overdosed on counterfeit hydrocodone that actually contained fentanyl.
People tend to think pills are safe, when in fact they're just pharmaceutical heroin.
It's not just cartels getting drugs from China. Everyday people are finding ways to order online.
We have cases in the United States where we know that they're ordering synthetic opioids from China. They can have it delivered UPS, FedEx, DHL right to their doorstep.
That was Jessica Shambach reporting. Here is another jaw-dropping statistic. Salter says 3 out of every 5 heroin addicts started on opioids. A dangerous strain of Narcan-resistant heroin is becoming more popular. Narcan can reverse the effects of an overdose. First responders say that the new strain is a combination of fentanyl and heroin, and it is linked to deaths in Chicago and in Pittsburgh. This is also a new drug that is literally a killer cocktail. The latest drug hitting America's streets in response to the opioid crisis. This drug is so strong, it can kill the user quickly. This picture shows how much heroin and fentanyl is considered a deadly dose. On the right, the drug Gray Death. Some experts say they are watching for it to hit Oklahoma. As the opioid crisis continues in our country, users are finding it hard to get the prescription opioid drugs. And now, Gray Death is showing up in America.
A new heroin cocktail.
Kimberly Ferris is director of the ARC in Oklahoma City. They help people detox as part of drug treatment programs. She says a user picks Gray Death simply looking for the next thing.
They're trying to enhance a high.
But it is incredibly strong, using carfentanil. That's used as an elephant tranquilizer.
Carfentanil, and they've seen a little bit of it, 10,000 times more powerful than morphine.
That's Richard Salter with the DEA. He says it's coming in via mail from China. OBN tells me they haven't seen any cases of Gray Death in Oklahoma City, but Kimberly Ferris says she's talking to her colleagues in Dallas, where they are waiting to see it.
What we have found that whatever's going on there, that if it's not happening in Oklahoma City, that it's just around the corner.
And she says it's difficult to treat simply because it's so lethal.
People aren't living long enough to seek treatment once they have tried the Gray Death.
The typical trend goes Ohio, Atlanta, Dallas, and then OKC. OBN is aware they're watching for the drug cocktail to cross the Red River. Well, it is a frightening real-life scenario for a coroner's office in western Ohio. They have run out of space for bodies because of an increase in opioid overdoses. This is the second time this year it's happened. They're expecting to do 29,000 autopsies. That's a 50% increase over last year. The Department of Justice wants to use prison to fight the state of addiction. Attorney General Jeff Sessions wants to implement harsher penalties for drug offenders. It is a big reversal from the Obama administration's approach. When Eric Holder was Attorney General, he implemented shorter sentences for nonviolent drug offenders. Critics say moving away from that is costly and a burden on overcrowded prisons. They say it also doesn't improve safety. Opioids don't just affect the addict, they also affect the addict's family and their friends. Una Lee from our sister station in Arkansas sat down with a family who says the war with addiction took hold of their son and how they're winning the battle with tough love.
These were the better days, pre-addiction. Then, about 5 years ago, the situation escalated.
I was afraid to be home alone with them.
Afraid of her middle son, Chris.
Finally, we got to the point where we couldn't take it anymore.
This problem just seemed to escalate. We had to at least take him out of here a couple times.
A restraining order was eventually placed against Chris. Kenneth and Carol Butler had to break ties with him, all because of his dependence on opioids and other drugs. They had enough of deceit, theft, and violence.
We told him that don't ever come back, I never want to see you again.
Chris became homeless, jobless, still addicted to opioids.
I thought we were going to get a call that he was dead.
And the Butlers felt hopeless.
You go through shame. You think, I am so embarrassed that I let this happen. And I blame myself a lot. And it finally turned out, it's not my fault.
When you're busting things up and punching things, it's just the whole situation was just out of control, and the best way at it was just out.
Please leave.
I didn't have any idea I hurt him as much as I did.
Now 28 years old, Chris says alcohol and recreational drugs started in high school, but he got addicted to opioids 5 years ago.
I started taking pills pretty much every day, doing crazy stuff to get them. And then from oxycodone, it progressed to morphine, Dilaudid, Opana. I would always get sick when I didn't have them.
But he always managed to get his hands on opioids.
It's very easy to find painkillers. It's in the medicine cabinet at your house, friends' parents that have them.
And he overdosed several times.
It's scary at first, but throughout my addiction, it got so bad to the point where towards the end of it, I was purposely trying to overdose, just to get out of it completely.
Although he had been to rehab several times before, he says this was his rock bottom.
There is hope. I would highly suggest going to rehab. That is one thing that a decision point has saved my life multiple times. But you also have to do it for yourself and no other reason but yourself.
It's still an uphill battle. 6 months clean, the court still has a restraining order against Chris regarding his parents, but he's back in their lives and on the road to improvement.
Luckily, my parents, not just my parents, but my brothers have given me another chance. More chances than I can thank them for.
I thank God every day for giving us Chris back.
This is a success story instead of a statistic. It's a little over 6 months clean, and he's happy. He's Chris, It's like a totally different person.
Well, that was Una Lee reporting. Chris says he is taking it slow. In the past 6 months, he stayed sober and found a full-time job. Once the court costs are paid, his parents say the restraining order will be lifted. Well, making it easier for people to get help, how one group is making sure everyone has access to treatment. And we are going to El Paso, Texas. Border Patrol agents show us how they spot and stop illegal drugs and counterfeit opioids from coming into the U.S. Oklahoma in a state of addiction. Opioid abuse is an epidemic impacting thousands in our state. One obstacle, making sure everyone has access to treatment. KOCO's Crystal Price shows us the work to make that possible.
Doctors say treatment for opioid addiction is critically needed in rural Oklahoma, and through a federal grant, they're hoping to make sure everyone gets the treatment they need. In Oklahoma, thousands of people battle opioid addiction every year, but it's hard to get access to treatment.
There's a big need in our country and in our state to expand access to this type of care.
Osteopathic family physician Lane Subera says the reason is because doctors are required to undergo training to provide the opioid treatment medication Suboxone to patients. Out of the 12,000 doctors actively prescribing medicine in Oklahoma, only 200 have been trained, simply because the resources weren't there. But through a federal grant, the Oklahoma Osteopathic Association has been able to provide free training to 60 doctors in the last year.
What we're trying to do is get as many practices as possible signed up to treat substance use disorder.
He says they will start with recruiting medical and osteopathic doctors in eastern Oklahoma. and then work their way down to the south central part of the state.
Our rural citizens don't have access to the services that a lot of our urban patients have, and so this project could be critical to saving lives for a lot of rural people.
Crystal Price, KOCO 5 News.
In 2015, more than 50,000 Americans died of a drug overdose. That is the most ever recorded in history, with opioid addictions driving the epidemic. Megan Cruz from our sister station in Albuquerque shows us the daily fight to keep illegal drugs out. She has the story from El Paso at the border entry with Mexico.
Officers used impressive tools to search people in cars. The tried and true drug-sniffing dogs. This is an X-ray machine that can scan your entire car, and this density meter can show you if something's hiding inside a tire or fender. But the CBP says their best tool is by far their officers' own instincts.
Just a feeling, a gut feeling. When he saw me jumping over the
And Officer Larry Gardea just knew something did not look right about this white van.
Officer Larry Gardea says he noticed an odd bulge about the back seat. When he ripped open the cushion, you won't believe what he found.
So they hollowed this out?
They hollowed it out, and then they fill it with the narcotics.
Brick after brick of marijuana, nearly 40 pounds.
With marijuana, it's about $800 a pound.
That payoff, a risk worth taking for some.
We see them strapped to their bodies. We see them in the soles of their shoes.
These smugglers,
they put in the quarter panels, they put in the tires, they put in the gas tank.
Getting sneakier every day.
They like to use families. I've actually had kids sitting on the narcotics.
Last year, CBP seized a total of about 75,000 pounds of marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and meth just at the El Paso port of entries.
And that was Megan Cruz from our sister station in Albuquerque reporting. A new task force to help fight the opioid epidemic in Oklahoma and across the country. The Trump administration launched a new commission that will look for solutions to the crisis. It is led by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. The president met with public and private leaders about the crisis and heard from recovering addicts.
Solving the drug crisis will require cooperation across government and across society, including early intervention to keep America's youth off this destructive path.
The commission will make recommendations to the president on policies and plans that improve response to the crisis. Some have called for Congress to boost federal funding. In addition to the task force, millions of dollars will head to Oklahoma to help fight our state's opioid addiction. The Trump administration awarded Oklahoma with a $7 million grant. It will help patients get treatment for addiction. Facing our state of addiction and helping people recover from opioid addiction, I want to take you to a place that helps users detox in the first few days. For drug users, trying to break the addiction involves coming down off the drugs.
If you cold turkey and just stop after your body gets used to having those chemicals on a regular basis,
it can be dangerous for users, so treatment centers like the ARC can help. Kimberly Ferris is the director.
Help the person withdraw safely and comfortably.
So the patient comes and stays.
Typically, we're looking at you're using at least 2 weeks prior to coming in on a daily basis.
This facility has been open and running for just a little over a year. They have beds available to get you in and get you out of that danger zone.
That's where addiction treatment has gone wrong.
A typical stay is about 4 days. Their goal to get a user out of the danger zone of coming off strong chemicals so they can go on a 30-day treatment program.
The exciting part of what happens at the ARC is just the transformations that we see in people.
Now, the ARC takes insurance. They want you to call and see if they can help. A special screening of a film highlighting the problem earlier this spring. It's called The Anonymous People. It focuses on the opioid addiction epidemic and the road to recovery.
This is an opportunity for us all to be aware and to recognize the issue, both in Oklahoma and nationally, and to begin to address it like we would other issues.
After that screening, there was a panel discussion.
Recovery is reality. Fund behavioral health.
And remembering those lost by drug overdoses, families and friends came together at the state capitol this spring to remember the victims and rally for funding for behavioral health. In 2015 alone, 600 people died from prescription drug-related causes. A new popular synthetic opioid being blamed for several deaths. It's currently legal in Oklahoma. We'll tell you what's in it and what state lawmakers are doing to ban it. In recent months, Oklahoma has seen a rise in problems with counterfeit opioid pills being sold on the streets. It's even killed some Oklahomans. KOCO's Crystal Price shows us what's causing this problem and how the state hopes to fix it.
While access to prescription drugs is dropping in Oklahoma, experts say people are still turning to the streets. And sometimes the pain pills they buy there may not be what they think they are.
Opioids are a growing problem globally.
Mark Woodward with the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics says drug dealers have started manufacturing pills that look like oxycodone and other painkillers. But in reality, they contain fentanyl, an opioid that is much stronger than what they're used to.
The addicts have no idea what's cut into it that they're buying on the streets, and sadly they're so desperate many of them don't care what's in it.
Oftentimes it can lead to an overdose and even death. A new popular synthetic opioid nicknamed Pink has killed 3 people in Oklahoma in the last year and hundreds of other people nationwide. While the DEA banned Pink, it's still legal in Oklahoma. But this bill is working its way through the legislature, and if it passes, it would outlaw Pink in Oklahoma. He says this bill will give them more recourse to go after those selling Pink on the streets.
Some of these people that are selling it right now are flying under the radar, but we simply want our state laws to mirror the federal laws and also get it on the books. We think it will save a lot of lives.
Crystal Price, KOCO 5 News.
The Cherokee Nation filed a lawsuit against opioid distributors. They argue its practices are helping fuel the epidemic.
Native Americans are more susceptible to addiction, studies show, than at a higher rate than members of the general population.
The suit claims companies haven't done enough to prevent tribal leaders from acquiring illegally prescribed opioids. The Cherokee Nation wants to be reimbursed for health care costs it paid to treat addicted citizens. Keeping your medications out of the wrong hands, the ways you can safeguard your meds as Oklahoma fights this state of addiction.